Good afternoon. Are we audible?
Hi.
I guess Sonia and I are the reasons between you and lunch. So we will try to keep this interactive. We will try to keep this engaging and short and sweet, and hope that you guys and girls get some great takeaways from this. So I'm Amit Sharma. I'm one of the co-founders of TWID. We are a Sequoia and Google-backed startup. We are primarily a rewards payment platform, similar to what a Razor Pay and a PayU does, but we do it on the rewards ecosystem. We are one of the largest in the country today. Sonia out here is the founder of Shepays, a very, very interesting concept. It's a fintech targeted for women. I didn't know that there was such a requirement till the time I got talking to Sonia, and I was blown away by what I heard and why it exists, and I'm hoping to share some of that with you today. So Sonia also is the co-founder of CollectSense, which is another startup she's been running for the last 10 years. And Sonia is an IIM Trichy graduate and an Army Institute alumnus. So a couple of quick questions just to get a sense for the women out here. Since this is about fintech for women, how many of you out here actually plan your own day-to-day expenses or your own monthly expenses on your own? And by that I mean, you have money coming in and you plan it. Can I just get a raise of hands? Wonderful. And how many of you take direct charge of your own financial planning? Let's say if you want to buy a house, how many of you decide this is what it is, this is what you're going to budget, how much loan, where to get it from? All right, raise of hands, how many? Oh wow, okay, that's a good number too. And how many of you have thought about retirement planning in terms of today you're working, retirement plan, from a financial perspective, not from an age perspective? Oh great, great. I think we're going to have a very interactive session.
Yes.
And the last question is, how many of you take your own personal insurances, life insurances on your own, not company-led, but your own? All right, great. So we have a mixed audience out here. So Sonia, question for you. Do you feel women at some stage hold back taking charge of their own financial planning?
Yes, thank you so much, Amit. A pleasure to be here. The numbers in this room are very different than the realities which we kind of face in the market when we go out, talk to the general population, which may not be in the main workforce, and a lot of things different, which during the course of our discussion, I'll bring out those pain points and we'll start discussing that. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I did do a little bit of reading up on this. So some of the statistics are very interesting out here. So 81% of women in urban India and 77% of the rural women have bank accounts, which is a fabulous number. And this comes from a National Family Health Survey of 2021. But the actual fintech or financial engagement of women is extremely low. So it's roughly about 7% of women in India invest independently through self-learning. So that's a startling number, right? When you talk of 81% women having their own bank accounts, but those who are actually making financial decisions on is just 7%. So there seems to be a large gap in that, Sonia.
Yes, absolutely.
So what kind of challenges do you think related to this? Do you think there's a bias, there's a discrimination of women when they try to access financial services? Do you think it's more male-dominated world of financial services versus women? Do you feel that way, and do these challenges exist in real life?
Absolutely. So to give you a very simple example, the moment I start talking about I'm building a product for women, especially people who are coming from banking background ask me, why are you building a product for a niche? And I immediately say that I'm talking about 50% of India's population right now, and it cannot be a niche, right? The biasness starts right there. That when we talk about women and finances, the preconceived notion is it's a niche category. They won't be interested in engaging. I have heard number of times when women's, men and people in general say that it's a headache for women. They won't be able to do it. They don't have bandwidth to do it. They are not interested to do it at all. But what I really feel is, before you call something a headache and start giving medication, you need to ask whether this headache was given, whether it is an intent-based, whether women are not interested at all, or is how we grew up. We cannot deny the fact that we came from a patriarchal society, and there are multiple reasons why we have been kept out of the ecosystem. One of them, very basic way to look at it is, people say that out of love, men took upon themselves to say, hey, I'm going to take care of the finances, you handle everything else, right? But the point is, by keeping someone out of an ecosystem, you're not empowering them. You're handicapping them further to not engage, and over years and years and decades, this has happened constantly, where eventually women are made to believe that this is not my domain and it is a headache. But it is not, because when you look around, women are leading in all the fields of technology, management or science or wherever you look at, and they are doing everything on the fingertips. You don't even need a calculator to manage your house on a daily basis. I don't even have to talk about women who are going to offices. I'm just talking about your mothers for that matter, right? Savings, managing, planning, everything has been ingrained in them with the mental math. So I don't feel that this is something that is something that we don't feel like getting engaged on, but it's a biasness. What it does, it breaks your self-esteem. And I'll give you a very small example. We spoke to hundreds of women before building Shepays. And I'll give you one example. A single mother for last 3 years have been struggling to get a home loan. And the only thing she's been denied constantly for it was she doesn't have a male co-guarantor, right? And she doesn't want a male co-guarantor. There's somebody who reached out to me for an opportunity with the organization, and she said, I come from a banking background, but I don't, and my passion is because even from being from a banking background, she was denied a vehicle loan. She's been working for 8 years saying your father needs to be a co-guarantor. And she said, all my salary slip, my civil score says that I'm eligible for this loan. The point is the person down there trying to give a loan has different goals altogether. The loan category says that if it's a man, it will convert faster, they will pay better, there's less hassle on the process, right? So we are in the process of the biases breaking the self-esteem, self-worth and the confidence of women saying, this is not meant for you.
Wonderful. So help me understand Shepays, your product. Why Shepays and your journey in actually building a financial product, because heck of a lot of tech companies out there, heck of a lot of tech companies building fintech products. But in your space of why Shepays and what is it doing differently to become a financial platform for women?
Let's say we thought of Shepays primarily, it was very personal to me also, because I've seen industries of e-commerce and OTT and gaming coming and going for last couple of years, and I've never seen this particular kind of exclusion that had happened prominently, because when fintech revolution started last 5 years, there were companies which clearly say, the briefs would say only acquire men or target men. And this is a very clear indicative of how subtly you're not even positioning, communicating or resonating through your product to women as an audience for financial product. And I had huge debate with all these financial companies saying, why are you doing it? Why you don't want to target women as an audience? He said, there's a lot that will go in, you have to check the CIBIL rating, and then the conversion, and then engagement with them is like very tough as a process. So we thought, okay, let's understand. We did a market research with Ipsos as a marketing company, and we tried understanding whether it is actually an intent issue by women or it is actually an ecosystem which has kept them outside. And very interesting facts came out of the picture. There was somebody who said, I want to take an insurance and I don't take insurance because of 2 reasons. Why? I really don't trust that when I really need the money, I can get it. I can keep paying the premium. But at the same time, a man has to interact with the call center to get the money, right? Because it is so heavily dominated by men who will keep telling you that you're not eligible for this, you have not done this paper, this last signature is left out, right? And this is all after IRDA being the most strict regulatory body in India. The perception of that woman about insurance as a category was, it is not very easy to take insurance, it's a hassle. It shouldn't be. It's a basic financial facility, accessible and should be made easily available to every category of the gender. So this was one of the prominent, and likewise mobility is a problem for women. Digitalization has happened. So how can we kind of, overall only 1% of women take the facility that is available across for women entrepreneurs through the government schemes as well. Right? Only 1%, and only 13% are even aware. There is lack of awareness, there is lack of accessibility. We thought we'll solve all the problem through our platform, which is basically a seamless, single-stop platform with all the financial product under the same umbrella. Why? Because again, multiple KYCs, trusting multiple apps, engaging on multiple different platforms while you are so busy managing your life, because there is too much on a woman's plate on a daily basis, right? So we've been trying to solve that problem through our product.
But finance is typically an ecosystem, right? I mean, you drive around the city, you open the magazine, you switch on the television. There are always financial products being circulated out there, and it's a complete ecosystem in itself. So why do you feel that you need a product specifically for women? Why wouldn't the ecosystem itself support the women around?
Right. Very interesting question. Thank you, Amit. You are an entrepreneur yourself, you are built to it, and you know how technology can solve problem and how consumers have very different perspective, right? You have built a reward platform where you know that consumers have to be rewarded to trigger that further next action for the businesses, right? Likewise, how men deal with finances and they look at money is very different psychological point of view how women look at. When we interviewed men, we asked them, do you know your retirement plan? Everybody said yes. We are very clear, 10 years down the line, this is what we are going to do. Believe me, 53% of women don't even know what they want to do with their future, with the money that they're earning, because women tend to spend their earnings on a daily basis in a lot of petty and routine things where men tend to save it for their future and of course for the family. Now what happens is the perception of women goes into this picture that because a man is saving, he's more confident and it is his. Because subtly you still don't see your money growing. You don't even have a view that I've earned a lakh, what did I make out of it and what is gonna be 10 years down the line. The moment you have this clear picture, there's a confidence that comes into the picture. Second, the psychology of money that I was talking about, when we ask men, their goals are very clear. When we asked women, their goals were very, very targeted. I want to buy a car for my dad. I want to save for making a better house. They have 5 years goal, 4-year goal, 3 years, 1 year, investing in some other platform through various methods. So you cannot have an audience. So like you said, only 7% of women invest independently and only 12% of Indian women are insured in India. That means there's a section of the society which is not covered in the financial aspect. And if they are not covered, that means there is something which is not talking to them. And you need to have a product. It's like, how do I say, right? You have to uplift a particular section, encourage them to engage more. And this is why I feel you have to talk to them differently. I'm not very sure if you've seen H&M and most of these e-commerce brands. The products are designed keeping women in mind. White color, red color, pink color, purple color. There's a very huge psychology that goes into while even designing a product. And when I talk to people who have created financial product, they clearly say that it's never struck them, that there has to be a resonance with women as well. Right? For a number of years, things are definitely changing a lot these days.
Wonderful. So I think the last question from my end, I think we've all talked for many, many years about recognition and the importance of diversity and inclusion, men and women walking equal through everything in life, right? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whether it's outdoors or the right to go out and do things, men and women do have all of those rights, and we talk a lot about it. So when you talk of Shepays as a product, right, a specific impact, if you can give an example that you think it will have on bridging the gender gap, a specific, let's say if you talk of loans or anything specific, where do you think it's going to have a direct impact on women?
I think the first impact that I am looking at is even consider women as an audience, right? That's the most important part. We all grew up, I grew up thinking he'll pay, honestly. And I think that is where the name also comes from, that I want the generations to grow up thinking she is going to pay. Right? So this is where the misnomer of the name comes from, and we were like, okay, let's build something that will trigger a thought of change in women to say, hey, even though I am earning, can I take control? Can I have a planning? Can I make sure that money grows from money? And can I be more secure when it comes to my future? Can I just plan it? And there have been stories of domestic violence. There have been stories of, because I also work with a lot of NGOs, and I've realized women don't even step out of domestic violence marriages because they feel that they have nothing left with them. Even though I'm talking about women who have been working, because majority of the cases, either the company is insuring you, because I mean hardly any women taking effort insuring themselves, or man of the house has been insured, right? So they think the insurance is not in the name, they don't need the loyal rights, they don't even know what has been saved so far for them. They can be kicked out of the marriage any day they want without a penny in their hand after contributing their entire life. Right, so my first vision was always that how can we empower women through a product which will make sure that they have a platform which is very easily accessible. Then the second part is, of course, the entire process has been created years back and it's very complex. As simple as I said that if you are a woman applying for a loan, I have very clear cases in front of us where the loan requirement goes under and you will not be catered to. So how can we make the process little more less complicated and more easily understandable? And then of course the idea is overall, can we kind of have a revolution in place where the generations to come will start taking control of the finances like they're taking care of the house, they're taking care of themselves, their families and everybody else, right? So this was the whole intent. And there is a big journey in front because I think India is changing. We are talking about 50% of 1.49 billion of our population. More workforce to come into the picture. There are more girls and women in STEM and high schools and colleges. So you're talking about a generation which is ready. The moment you think about women, we generally when I talk to men, they say, "Meri mummy kabhi use nahi karegi." But we're not talking about mothers. We are not talking about wives. We are just talking about women in general who can be just anyone. She can be a scientist, she can be a lawyer, she can be anybody. But the perception draws that is going to be an EQ attached to it, which will keep them away from the finances, right? So yeah, this was the whole intent and this is the whole ambition to empower women through helping them engage more in the financial ecosystem.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sonia. We'll open it up to the floor. I think we have a few more minutes. The mic, please. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Aparna and my question is, actually I'm an HR manager and I raised my hand by the way for all the questions that you said, so this question is not for me, but I come across with this situation within my team, my employees a lot, where managing the finance for women is, I feel, is a second step. First thing is that at their home itself, they're not able to, bring that confidence with their partners or with the family that they are equal breadwinners. Most of the times, their finances are being, considered as a side incomes that is coming, and I've been in a situation where employees have come back and say that I don't think I'll be able to continue, and I'm like, why? Because my family, my in-laws are not supporting. And when I asked it, how is it possible? You're earning so well, you're earning for your family, so they don't see it that way. You see that even if you have to discontinue working, it's fine, we'll manage it. I think you should more focus on contributing to the, family, like in taking care of the family. So my question to you, ma'am, is that fortunately we have a lot of men in the world who support women in that way, thanks to the mothers who have raised them like that. But still, most of the families nowadays runs by that, where women are the second breadwinner. So how do we encourage them at the first place that within the home first they take the charge, they are being treated as equal, and then they get the confidence to take the charge for their own finances. So I think it's a two-step that has to be taken to reach where we are talking about right now.
Right. I'll take the question. I think there is a taboo attached with the name money when it comes to women. And the same is not applicable for men. The first thing is you have to drop that idea. Then we talk money, you're talking about prosperity of your own self and the family. That's one. I mean, that is something that nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself, to say, hey, I'm talking money because that is the need for survival and it's not something extra. Second is the day, I think I've been talking about this for a lot of platforms, that the day you start earning, that it's very important that you sit down with your partner and you divide the money in a way that all your money, and we did this research, it said that women spend 80% of the money which they will not even recognize was important, but it is important. Paying to the house helps, tuition fees, randomly paying Paytm and Google Pay all over the place, and are all essentials, right? And it goes off from your account and you don't even realize 80% of the money is gone. But it could be the family ecosystem, mother-in-law, or whoever is in the family, or your husband or whoever, will always say that, hey, look, I saved and you spent. But the spending was not leisure. And the number says only 5% of the total money that you women spend or we spend is for ourselves, only 5%. right? But look at the perception. Women spend, and that's all. Women spend and save. Every minute we are calculating, wo sabzi 10 rupees kam ki kharidni is a saving that we have done for the family. But is it recognized? Not at all, right? What I'm saying is, make it more tangible. If you don't make it tangible, and in this era, when you have so many products, you know, your platforms and apps which tells you, I have, you know, kind of earned 50,000, I have to kind of save 30,000, out of which my insurance is very clear. There are apps which give you reminder on saving it, and 10% separately somewhere, and rest, let it go wherever it wants to. But the moment end of the month, you're sitting with your family and saying, hey, I saved 30% of my salary, and this is what I'm going to do with it. This is where the recognition will start coming. But please stand up. I think standing for yourself is something that nobody else can do. And you've already taken a bigger step by working and coming out of your comfort zone and, you know, managing family, kids, traveling, commuting. India is not a very easy ecosystem for women to work. It's just impossible from all directions when I look at it. It's more convenient. I've traveled all across the world, and I feel life is easy for women to work when you're in, you know, developed cities, because the infrastructure supports you. It's more safety, mobility is not a problem, and a lot of other things, right? So thank you. You're in HR, and I'm really glad you're thinking in the direction. One piece of advice could be, if organization can start taking some sensitization topics about empowerment of women by standing tall for their, you know, financial rights, or talking about and feeling more confident about it. This is extremely important for them to continue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
I would like just like to add to that. I think, and you should think of how it works for a guy. It should work the same way for women, right? There's an X amount of earning you have every month. You take some portion of it, it goes as expenses, and there is some portion of which you wind up saving. The problem comes is, what do you plan to do with what you're saving? How do you want to make it important for yourself? That becomes the crux of it. And what by that I mean is that, can you think, let's say if you've got 100 rupees, you spend 40 rupees in the month, you're saving 60 bucks. Can you take that 60 and make that money grow for itself for yourself, you know? Make that money grow. Can you think of investing it? Make that money important for you, because if you look at inflation, and if you look at a 10-year roadmap of where your investment should be, that same 60 rupees 10 years on, what is it going to be worth? When you start thinking long out, you make that money very important for yourself, and when you start doing that, you then understand the importance of your career, and what you're earning becomes much more important for you.
Right.
So maybe it's not just about saving, it's about growing that money too, and that's where, you know, investment platforms come in, and that's where the thought process of taking a risk with your money and seeing how you want to make it grow becomes important, because tomorrow you make the substantial, I can tell you, your partner or your mother-in-law, whoever it is, will step back. Because they'll say, yeah, she's achieved something significant on her own, right? And that's where you need to focus on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, this discussion is so interesting, but we are a little hard pressed for time. I'm really sorry, the next speaker is waiting, so you could take the questions outside, like I said. All right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.